Mount Hood that could trigger up to a 7.2 magnitude earthquake.
Mount Hood, in our own backyard, could soon get some much-needed new monitoring systems, but a critical project 7 years in the making has now been delayed another year.
If you thought you knew the mountains and coast of Oregon, there is now a surprise. Deep underground, some volcano systems are starting to show signs that they might become active again. One famous mountain there is Mount Hood. This mountain often has snow on its top and has stood there for a very long time. For many people, it feels strong and peaceful. For centuries, it has looked over forests, rivers, and valleys. People see it as a beautiful and calm mountain. But now, scientists are wondering what might be happening deep below the ground. Mount Hood itself is still quiet, but far out in the ocean near the Oregon coast, there is another volcano under the water. This volcano is called Axial Seamount. It lies deep on the ocean floor. Scientists from universities are watching this volcano very carefully. They think it might be getting close to another eruption. When this volcano erupts, it usually does not explode with big blasts that people can see from land. Instead, a lot of lava flows across the ocean floor. When this happens, there are often many small earthquakes. Sometimes there can be thousands of them in just one day. Even though this happens deep underwater, it helps scientists learn more about what is happening inside the Earth. Axial Seamount has erupted several times in recent years, so scientists study it a lot. By studying this volcano, scientists learn how hot melted rock, called magma, moves under the Earth's crust, and how pressure builds up inside the planet. These discoveries are changing how scientists think about volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest. The area is part of a long chain of volcanoes called the Cascade Range. From the quiet slopes of Mount Hood to the deep ocean volcano Axial Seamount, powerful forces are shaping the land and the ocean, even if we cannot always see them. Scientists now watch for small signs, like tiny earthquakes, the seafloor rising, and magma moving underground. By studying these signs, they hope to better understand what might happen in the future with the volcanoes in this region. A quaking giant, Mount Hood and Oregon's volcanic watch. Mount Hood looks calm and beautiful. The top of the mountain is covered with snow and ice, and the sun shines on it in the morning. Many people visit this mountain. Hikers walk on the trails, skiers slide down the snowy slopes, and families camp nearby. Kayakers paddle in rivers that start from the melting snow, and climbers try to reach the famous peak. But even though the mountain looks peaceful, scientists are always watching it carefully. Around the mountain, there are special tools like earthquake sensors and GPS stations. These tools help scientists notice if the ground moves or shakes. Volcanologists, scientists who study volcanoes, watch these signals closely. Their job is to see if the volcano starts to change. Scientists have been studying Mount Hood for many years. The volcano last erupted in the 1700s and 1800s. Sometimes scientists notice small signs of heat or tiny earthquakes, but these are usually normal for volcano areas. Right now, Mount Hood is called a potentially active volcano, which means it could erupt one day, but there are no signs that it will erupt soon. People who live nearby know the mountain's history. They know it erupted long ago, but today, most people see it as a beautiful part of Oregon. Still, they remember that the region is part of the Ring of Fire, an area around the Pacific Ocean where many volcanoes and earthquakes happen.
Scientists continue to watch the mountain carefully. They look for small earthquakes, gases coming out of the volcano, and tiny changes in the ground. Sometimes, small earthquake groups or slight ground swelling can happen in volcanic areas. These can be caused by heat, water underground, or very slow movement of magma deep below the surface. But so far, scientists have not seen signs that Mount Hood is waking up quickly. Researchers keep improving their tools and models to understand volcanoes better. They compare Mount Hood with volcanoes around the world. One day, the volcano may erupt again, but scientists do not know when that will happen. For now, the signs show that the mountain is stable and calm. Scientists continue to ask important questions.
What could cause the next eruption someday? And will we see the warning signs in time? Inside the chamber, the science of magmatic monitoring. When people hear the words magma chamber, they often imagine a huge underground lake full of melted rock under a volcano. But in real life, it is not exactly like that. A magma chamber is usually a big area underground with many cracks and hot rocks. In these places, melted rock called magma slowly moves upward through the earth. Scientists use many tools to watch these underground areas. They use GPS machines, satellites in space, gas sensors, and earthquake detectors. These tools help them notice even very small changes. At Mount Hood, scientists watch the ground very carefully. This can happen when magma pushes upward below the surface. Scientists also measure gases that come out of the volcano, like carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. These gases can escape from small vents or hot springs near the mountain. If scientists suddenly saw a lot more gas or the ground rising quickly, it could mean that magma is moving closer to the surface. That would be an important warning sign. So far, scientists have not seen any big or unusual changes at Mount Hood. The small movements, gas releases, and tiny earthquakes they see are normal for a volcano like this. There are still pathways deep underground where magma can move. The area was shaped by old eruptions and lava flows long ago. But right now, everything looks calm and stable. Scientists also use powerful supercomputers to study volcanoes. These computers help them simulate how magma might move underground. They also study heat, gases, and minerals to better understand how eruptions could start in the future. Sometimes, scientists notice small patterns. For example, tiny ground movements can happen when snow melts in warmer seasons. Small tremors can also be caused by earthquakes far away, or even by the pull of the moon. But without clear and strong warning signs, like constant earthquakes or the ground rising a lot, Mount Hood is still considered quiet. Even so, magma deep inside the earth is never completely still. That is why scientists in Oregon keep watching the volcano carefully. They stay alert, not scared, always looking for small changes that might show what could happen many years from now. Axial Seamount, Oregon's underwater volcano, prepares to erupt. What if the most active volcano in Oregon isn't on land at all, but hidden deep under the ocean? While Mount Hood looks calm and peaceful, Oregon's most active volcano is actually far out in the sea. It is called Axial Seamount, and it lies more than 250 miles off the Oregon coast. You can't see it from land, and it won't appear on travel postcards, but it is one of the most carefully watched underwater volcanoes in the world. Scientists believe that Axial Seamount may erupt by the end of 2025. This idea is not a guess. It comes from more than 20 years of careful research on the ocean floor. Researchers use special tools on the seabed, such as pressure sensors, earthquake detectors, and underwater robots. These tools are part of a large research project run by the National Science Foundation and Oregon State University. Scientists have already watched several eruptions happen at Axial Seamount. The volcano erupted in 1998, 2011, and 2015. And each time, scientists were able to record what happened. When Axial Seamount erupts, something interesting happens. The pressure inside the magma chamber is released, and this can cause around 10,000 small earthquakes in one day. These earthquakes are usually too small for people to feel, and they do not normally cause tsunamis. But they help scientists understand how magma moves, how lava spreads across the sea floor, and how underwater volcanoes grow and change. Right now, scientists see signs that the volcano is slowly inflating, which means the ground at the top of the volcano is rising. This happens because magma is moving into the area under the ocean crust. Sensors also detect changes in heat and chemicals near hydrothermal vents. These vents release hot water and minerals from deep underground. They are home to strange ocean creatures and can also show early signs that the volcano is becoming active. Even though Axial Seamount erupts underwater and is far from people, it is very important for science. It helps researchers understand how volcanoes behave before they erupt. If the predicted eruption happens around 2025, It could teach scientists even more about the warning signs volcanoes give before an eruption. This knowledge could help them better understand other volcanoes, including Mount Hood. Does this underwater activity mean the volcanoes on land in Oregon will also change? Right now, scientists say there is no clear proof that underwater volcanoes and land volcanoes erupt at the same time. But by watching both places carefully, scientists can learn more and improve how they prepare for future eruptions. Both in the ocean and on land, Oregon's volcanoes are helping scientists discover new things about how our planet works and how we can better prepare for nature's powerful surprises. Lessons from silence, reading subtle signs. What if a volcano was slowly waking up? Would people even notice the first signs? Life near Mount Hood looks completely normal. Hikers walk the trails, tourists visit the mountain, and nearby towns continue their daily routines. Most people don't realize that scientists are quietly watching the volcano all the time. History shows that volcanoes do not always give clear warnings. The first signs are often very small and easy to miss. Knowing these early signals can be very important. Some of the first signs scientists look for are tiny earthquakes, small changes in the shape of the ground, and small increases in volcanic gases. Scientists also study changes in the water from nearby springs. Sometimes animals and plants can behave differently before earthquakes or volcanic activity. In some places around the world, animals have seemed nervous or moved away before big events. But at Mount Hood, scientists have not seen strong evidence of this happening recently. Scientists also check the chemistry of rivers and hot springs near the volcano. If volcanic gases or minerals begin mixing with the water, it could be a sign that magma is moving underground. Researchers also watch for steam vents, called fumaroles, where gases escape from the ground. They measure things like snow melting faster than usual or warmer soil temperatures. These checks are normal parts of Oregon's volcano monitoring system. Sometimes local stories talk about strange seasons or unusual animal behavior, but official scientific records show that the recent activity around Mount Hood is still within normal levels. Organizations like the USGS and the Cascades Volcano Observatory continue to watch the volcano carefully.
If scientists ever see clear warning signs, like many earthquakes, fast ground movement, or large amounts of gas, they would quickly warn the public. For now, the area around Mount Hood remains calm, but scientists stay alert, always watching for any changes. By understanding how volcanoes are monitored, people can feel safer and better prepared for the surprises that nature sometimes brings. The ice mask, Mount Hood's timeless face and hidden dangers. Mount Hood is one of the most famous mountains in Oregon. Its snowy top and glaciers make it beautiful in every season. The glaciers on the mountain help feed rivers that flow through the region, but under the snow and ice, Mount Hood is still a volcano. Like all volcanoes, it slowly changes over many thousands of years. Sometimes volcanoes erupt under glaciers. When this happens, the heat from the eruption can melt a lot of ice very quickly. This sudden melting can create large mud flows called lahars. These fast-moving flows of water, mud, and rocks can rush down the mountain slopes with little warning. Scientists in the Cascade Mountains have seen this happen with other volcanoes in the past. Because of this risk, researchers carefully watch the glaciers and snow on Mount Hood. They look for unusual signs, such as snow melting at the wrong time of year, or sudden heat coming from the ground. So far, scientists have not found any unusual melting or strange heat changes that would suggest magma rising under Mount Hood. The small changes they see in glaciers, snowmelt lakes, and groundwater are normal seasonal changes caused by weather and climate. Still, scientists know that there is a possible risk in the future. If a volcano eruption happened while the mountain still had a lot of ice and snow, large lahars could move down the mountain. In that situation, nearby communities such as Zigzag, Government Camp, and Hood River could be affected within hours. Because of this, emergency planners prepare ahead of time. They create hazard maps, plan evacuation routes, and practice safety drills so people know what to do if an eruption ever happens. The mountain is also home to a delicate alpine ecosystem. Rare plants, insects, and animals live there and adapt to the cold environment.
These living things change with the seasons as snow, ice, and temperatures shift. Scientists also use satellites and drones to study the mountain. These tools help them watch changes in snow brightness, ground heat, and the shape of the landscape. All of this monitoring helps scientists notice any unusual changes early. For now, Mount Hood remains stable and quiet. But scientists understand the volcano better than ever and continue to watch it carefully. Old fears, new questions, the risk of the unpredictable. For a very long time, Mount Hood has been an important part of Oregon. Indigenous tribes have watched the mountain for thousands of years and shared stories about its spirit and the changes it has gone through. Today, many more people live in the area than in the past. Modern technology helps scientists watch the volcano closely. They can measure small earthquakes and tiny amounts of volcanic gases. But even with all this technology, it is still very hard to predict exactly when a volcano will erupt. Predicting eruptions is one of the most difficult jobs in Earth science. Scientists study old eruption records, layers of ash in the ground, and data from modern monitoring tools. They use this information to look for patterns that might show when a volcano could become active. Researchers also create computer models. These models show different possible events, from small gas releases to lava flows, or, in very rare cases, larger eruptions. In the past, eruptions from Mount Hood have usually been moderate, meaning they produced lava domes and ash, but not extremely huge explosions. Still, scientists know that volcanoes can sometimes change their behavior, so they continue to study and watch the mountain carefully.
Nearby towns, such as Government Camp, Hood River, and Welch's, sometimes take part in safety drills. These drills help people practice what to do if a volcanic event ever happens. Tourism groups also try to balance safety and travel. They encourage visitors to check volcano alerts and stay informed, but they also try not to cause unnecessary fear. For people who live in the region all year, and for planners and insurance companies, the uncertainty can be challenging, but it also motivates them to prepare. Plans for evacuation, communication, and safety are regularly updated, even though a major eruption is unlikely. Science helps us measure risks, give warnings, and prepare, but it cannot completely remove the dangers of living near volcanoes. The most important thing is being ready and listening to the knowledge of scientists who study volcanoes in Oregon and around the world. The quiet presence of Mount Hood reminds people that powerful forces still exist deep beneath the earth, even when everything on the surface looks calm. The countdown accelerates, Axial's eruption, and the lessons for Oregon. While Mount Hood stands quietly over Oregon, much of the scientific excitement is happening far out in the ocean at Axial Seamount. Scientists believe this underwater volcano is slowly moving toward another eruption. Every year, researchers collect new information. They measure the ground at the top of the volcano rising, study chemicals coming from ocean vents, and record groups of small earthquakes. Scientists share their results, publish studies, and prepare for the next eruption, which they think could happen before the end of 2025. The research at Axial Seamount is very important. It helps scientists learn more about volcanoes under the ocean, and it also helps them improve the tools they use to protect communities near volcanoes in the Cascade Range. Local and national agencies use this knowledge to improve safety plans. They prepare evacuation routes, warning systems, and public information programs. These systems are ready in case any volcano in Oregon begins to show dangerous changes. Education is also an important part of preparation. Teachers explain how volcanoes work in schools. Indigenous communities and local groups share traditional knowledge about signs in nature. Scientists, wildlife trackers, and ecologists also watch animals and ecosystems for unusual changes. These observations can sometimes help provide early clues that something in nature is shifting. By sharing information and working together, Oregon hopes to stay safe while living in a region with volcanoes. For scientists, every small signal, from a tiny earthquake to a small release of gas, is another chance to learn more about what is happening deep inside the Earth. Each discovery helps them prepare better for future volcanic activity. One important fact remains: the next eruption might not happen where people expect it. That is why scientists must stay watchful and continue studying the quiet processes that shape our planet. The next eruption at Axial Seamount could teach scientists valuable lessons.
Those lessons may help them recognize warning signs if Mount Hood or another volcano in the region ever becomes active again. Nature's unscripted drama. The chill in the air above Oregon's peaks and coastlines carries an unmistakable tension, an uncertainty that no stately appearance or scientific certainty can erase. Under the snow and the hush of old forests, powerful stories are always being written, most hidden, some revealed in sudden drama. For centuries, people have come to Oregon's mountains in search of calm, beauty, and challenge. Volcanoes, from the underwater might of Axial Seamount to the iconic silhouette of Mount Hood, remind us that nature's timetable is long, and change can be sudden.
Axial prepares for a new chapter, while Mount Hood's heart, for now, beats steady but closely watched, a silent reminder that the power beneath our feet is never fully tamed. When land, ocean, and fire meet, history shifts in an instant. Our lives and stories, poised at this boundary of beauty and danger, are more fragile than we think. So the next time you look up at Mount Hood's snow-white crown, or imagine the hidden ridge of Axial Seamount beneath the waves, let it remind you, somewhere deep below, nature's secret is always growing, always watching, always ready to surprise. Will you be watching when the silence breaks?